Back of the Bus podcast coming to you with another comic book review. As always, I got my partner with me. I ain't saying, I'm just saying, Mr. Theo Butler. What's going on with you today, sir?
What's percolating? What's really good in the hood? Appreciate you, Marcus. We're going to make it do what it do.
Absolutely, always. And today we are catching up on X-Men. We've got X-Men Red number 11. Storm featured book here. Seeming like Storm is taking over the line here for the time being, which I'm not mad at all. I like an Aurora-centered story arc. I can definitely mess with that. We're popping up on planet Arakko, right? And the former regent of Mars or Arakko is sitting down for a late evening lunch with Mr. Craig Marshall. Anybody remember Craig Marshall?
He chill. He up and chill. He out here and
he made a come up, didn't he? Man, saving an alien kid never worked out so well.
You're on a whole nother planet. You're a regular Joe Blow on a whole nother planet. And who you having?
Found the baddest one though, like on the entire planet.
Who you having brunch with, dog? You having brunch with Aurora Monroe. Like I don't want to be disrespectful.
No, I got you. I see you trying to get center. I got you.
I ain't want to be disrespectful, but I just noticed the dude that's serving them got 4 arms.
Yeah. Yep. He like that's Jumbo's cousin. That's Jumbo Carnation's cousin.
I got a question. What they been eating?
I don't know. I don't think they worried about eating, Theo. I don't think anyone of them worried about eating. Storm seems very, I don't know if I'll say attracted, but enticed by the idea of being able to carry on a normal relationship with a normal human being. Now, in the context related to her, this is a normal human being. To me and you, this is a person we probably get a chance to meet once in our lifetime. But he's Joe Blow, like you said, on Arakko, which is the parallel is hilarious. But in any case, she's interested though because he is something simple, something that she can have outside of her duties and her responsibilities.
So this Mary J. Blige now? This Mary J. Blige?
Hey man, hey.
I hope he do better. I hope he do better by her than her ex did by her. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know if she's gonna have the time for this to actually become anything. But then again, we keep saying Al Ewing is not the guy to just throw out erroneous characters for no reason. So
he's not.
If you're telling me that Aurora Monroe is gonna be in a stable relationship with Craig Marshall, hey, I'm here for it. That's fine. I hate for it to be what I think is gonna be, some tragic pitfall for Craig. It ends up being some sort of motivation for Aurora. It seems like that's what they set it up to be. Like, oh, she has something nice, and it's so wholesome, and it's something just for her. And then bam, here come damn Ultron just obliterating. Here come Nimrod and just snap him out of reality or something.
I ain't got no hope. They didn't beat it up. They didn't wrote it up out of me like, okay. Hey Craig, how you doing? Bro, you on Mars. You on Mars and you the least person on Mars. Everybody else is an Omega level mutant. You on Mars by yourself, dog. You think about all her love interests. What make him different?
Obviously, he's human. He's not the smartest guy she's been with. Obviously, she was with Forge. He was a Night Thrasher fan. He says that in the dialogue at some point.
I don't think it's gonna last. That's me.
I don't think so either. It's not enough there. It's not enough there. He didn't like save her. You know what I mean? Or like she didn't save him. They didn't like do the battle together. They don't have some distant connection that they never knew about. Honestly, bro could be an agent. Bro could be Abigail Brand's homeboy, sleeper cell agent. You need to watch him. See, we might have found out. We might have found some stuff out just now talking about it.
Yeah, his name could be Jerome. Like his name could be Clarence.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And I guess that's what it is. To me, it's like you didn't do enough. And I understand he doesn't really introduce characters like that just for willy-nilly. But there was actually more Watch this. I was more interested in the young lady that was having a cell phone conversation with the centaur Celestial than I am in Creative.
Oh, you talking about in Judgment Day?
Yeah, you see what I just said? I was more interested in her and their story than I am in this. I don't have a lot of hopes for him. He's a plot point. I don't think he's gonna be around 2-3 years from now. They're not gonna be together. If he ain't dead, he'll be a villain.
Now, don't let me be the ultimate pessimist here. If it pays off, if it happens, hey man, I'm here for it. A new black character for and you know they're obviously gonna have to put something else on it. You know, just a generally smart human is not necessarily good character building in a superhero universe, but it's seeming more likely this will end up being a hurdle or some sort of weakness for Aurora now that she's being, you know, touted as the new leader. Now that, you know, there's this power vacuum on Krakoa and Seoul, I guess, in general, as of everything that's resulted as of the events of Judgment Day and you know, all in the sense of Sinister and all that stuff now. So
one thing. This little part in this story, this may have been him serving his purpose. Like, this may have been his purpose in showing up in the life. Like,
we'll see him again. Well, it's something bigger than this. It may not be something, you know, very crucial, but it'll be bigger than this appearance, I believe.
True. We can only hope so.
So, interrupting their fancy date there, right when they're in the middle of sending some flirtatious quips back and forth, Storm gets a psychic projection from none other than Xavier, which sets her completely off. And so, I believe we were talking about this at the, what did we read? Sins of Sinister Dominion, right? We were kind of talking about Storm and how she was going to play her role going forward between Arakko and Mars, and what Magneto told her before he passed in Judgment Day, right, about Xavier.
If I look at what transpired during Ten of Swords, and I look at what transpired during that last Black Panther run, and then I look at what transpired during the Axe event, you know, she got a right to have a short temper with people. Like right now, I can get it. I get it. If I had to think about it, yeah, that makes sense. She ain't really trying to hear nothing right now. You remember me and you was talking and you was like, the way they trying to like make her look, and I'm like, I didn't think much about it, but if you had been through them things, your temper for nonsense would be kind of short too.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
So what feels kind of targeted to me is that her biggest bone to pick is with Xavier, which, yeah, given the added context of their history, they've been around long enough that you can pick and pull things and try to, you know, make a culmination of things that have led to this point. Right, because the history between those characters is just so long. If you've been writing those characters for that long, you're gonna have some conflicts in between them, right? But I feel like it's been compiled in a way to make Xavier feel like he kind of co-opted Storm and switched her from a goddess to to an X-Men, to a mutant, and kind of caged her as a mutant. Okay. If we're going to go with that logic, then, X-Office, who's responsible for opening her up as a goddess? Who's responsible for worshiping her as royalty and a deity? Who's responsible for that? Because, see, you tell me that stuff over there on the big continent, the motherland, that relationship, that stink. That we can't have that. Because, you know, he lied to her and he trying to control her, and it just can never work, right? But then, okay, well then let's come over here to the X-Men. Oh, you're telling me that Xavier has co-opted her entire being, right? Her essence, who she truly was before she ever became a mutant. But that's where she needs to stay, though. This is the umbrella where she need to be at. We can't have her in Wakanda. She got to be here. where her entire essence has been co-opted. That's interesting storytelling there. Interesting. That's my takeaway from the whole thing with this Xavier thing, where like she's just zeroed in on now, yeah, you've been doing this to me all along and I've always known who you are and blah, yada, yada, yada. Okay, well, why? Because we shot the hell up out of Wakanda. We went from fighting the intergalactic war alongside my king, being hailed as as you know, your wife, to, oh, you lied to me about Gentle. Never again. We'll never be together again. Ever. Tell me something, man. Tell me something.
I can't, because I'm of the mindset that when somebody say something and they took the words right out my mouth, let me shut up.
I'm confused. Like, okay, why now? Why now? And then why only Xavier? Xavier ain't the only one that's led the matter of fact, since the era's closest to the start of the Krakoa era, it ain't been Xavier. It wasn't Xavier until we started doing this. Okay, we all gonna come together and we're gonna build this thing. We're gonna build this dream together. But damn, Storm, his partner was Eric and Moira. It was all three of them together. Ain't nobody strong arm Magneto make him do none of this and lie to y'all too. And Moira was the one who betrayed the whole thing and went Orcus. So again, okay, make it make sense. What we doing?
I think me and you reviewed the story where Eric and Charles took on Orcus and a Nimrod just to get them, just to have their fate ring. I think me and you both reviewed that issue. I could be wrong.
Literally gave their lives. Didn't know that they had Moira, that they had snatched her out of the no place or whatever. Had no memory of the fight with Nimrod, but gave their lives to try and secure her so that they could protect the dream. I'm just saying, man, there's a lot of deference towards Magnus. Obviously, they have a relationship. They lived on Araco together. They served on the Great Ring. They fought to Eric's last breath together. She was keeping him alive. I understand the attachment there, right? But there's going to be a common theme to her next several appearances here on the X line, where it's like Storm, Xavier, and Xavier is this. He's a misogynistic prick, right? He talks down to her. He condescends, and that's kind of pegged as their entire history. And now Storm is having this awakening that, like, it's been Xavier. He's the problem. Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that, isn't it?
It is, because if you remember, and I'm not saying you, but those who read that issue where Giant-Size X-Men 1, where he talked to her, he wasn't necessarily talking down to her. He's basically letting her know. When he said you're not a goddess, he was basically letting her know you're a mutant. And there are bigger things out here in the world for you than just Africa. But that was the same thing he told Peter. That was the same thing he told your boy Thunderbird. He ran that down for all of them. He told Logan the same damn thing. He's with Department H.
That's what I'm saying. That's not how you told the story. You're retconning it now. Right?
Yes.
You're trying to tell me something that has stood for generations, run over run, now is problematic. And so, like, it's not sitting with me because you don't have a whole lot to explain that. You got a couple quotes that I don't even remember from the comic book. I remember from the damn 90s cartoon. From the animated series, when he ran up in Africa and found Storm, creating like she was the Weather Witch and all that. Like that's where I remember that scene most from. I thought that was a callback from the TV show.
Yeah, see, I read the comic book, so it's one of them things where it's like, and I just, first of all, I'm gonna say it again. Thank you so much for bringing me back into the fold. Get me back into this thing, because it really just made me just sit there like, man, that ain't how that necessarily went. Like,
how that went. at all. And he took her in and he taught her and he matured her to be the leader that she is today. Like, Storm is not the leader that she is today without Xavier. Like, as big as an asshole as he is, he's a great teacher. Terrible father, great teacher.
Listen, when the dude, when Scott was going through his stuff and Jean had passed away and everything like that, and he clearly didn't have it, she wasn't the most seasoned person on that team. Charles chose her to be the leader. He said, you got next. Logan was there. Sean Cassidy was there. Banshee was there. You got two, Logan, damn, long life, right? Come on, somebody. You had two people experienced in that world. He chose her. Then when they came back from taking on the Shadow King, he's like, man, what we finna do with all these damn X-Men? He said, psych, Scott, you got that squad over there? Aurora, you got this squad over here. That was when the original five was back.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So it's one of them things where it's like, I get it, you got your own story to tell and everything like that, but damn, you leaving a lot of context out.
Yeah, and I think they're taking us to a certain point. So, well, I'll hang on for the time being. I just thought that was interesting in terms of this relationship dynamic right now. We are on the Southern Araco Prime. We're talking to Roberto da Costa. We've got your boy Nova and another character. I don't know if they say his name.
Yeah, they do. They reveal his name as Kobach, never held.
Kobach. There we go. Yep, and Kobach getting ready to go run somebody's fade in the Circle Perilous, and he's just bathing. He chilling out before he go take care of business. He's just kind of casually chilling out before he goes slaughter somebody.
You know how it's almost like every time we review a comic book, I feel like I gotta state my age. You know how I do that? I ain't done a lot of things in my lifetime. Some I'm proud of, some I'm not so proud of. It is what it is. You know, I've never done what Odell Beckham has done.
What's that?
That's be in a sauna, a hot tub with I've done it before, but it was with another gender. You know.
You just chilling in a hot tub with. Well, all right, you go to the gym, right? And you go work out, and they got the hot tub. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I get it. I feel it. I understand what you're saying. But like, ain't nobody got nothing on round chill. And you know that.
You said they doing it different. This ain't no gym.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, man. I'm not knocking it. You know, you do you. You know, Nova still got his number on, so technically he got close.
Theo said pause to the comic book characters, basically.
Y'all comfortable. Y'all real comfortable. Hey, you like it, I love it. Roberto ain't nude either. He got his shades on. The only one that's completely naked is Kobach.
Kobach, yeah. Quickly, right here in between the dialogue with Roberto and Nova, Richard Rider, he does throw a couple teasers out there that I think we'll be seeing some more of these skirmishes in the coming issues for X-Men Red, at least. Let's see, Rogue Scrolls. He said there's Rebel Scrolls, Rogue Brood, the alliance between the Shi'ar still ready to. The Shi'ar and the Skrulls and the Shi'ar, the Great Alliance. Mm-hmm. Their thing right now is very tenable, which they've been kind of teasing that for a while that was going to go sour. I've wondered why it hasn't exploded into some comic book event yet. Maybe they're holding it off for a moment, but that's going to be some of the stuff I think we see in the next 10 issues or so. Some Brood, some Skrulls, the Shi'ar Alliance going to shit.
We got to make sure we get the MCU right first. You know, we got to make sure we can tie the event thing together.
Make sure everything lines up. Yeah, man, we might have to sit down and talk MCU a little bit because it is burning over there. But I don't want to take us too far off track. Real quick about Roberto da Costa.
Mm-hmm.
Your homeboy, Bo DeMaio, right? Creator of the X-Men animated series reboot. Caught some smoke online about Roberto da Costa being betrayed as a Caucasian Brazilian, right? As opposed to a Afro-Latino Black Brazilian. And try to use the fact that Roberto's Brazilian heritage should be centered in him as a character, as a reason for him not being represented as a Black person. Bit of a head scratcher for somebody who's been, to Rio recently. It's a whole lot of Black people. And in fact, outside of the US and Africa, highest population of Black people. Imagine that. The thing is,
when Roberto da Costa was initially introduced into Marvel Comics, the New Mutants, that was a graphic novel. That didn't come out as a comic book, and I actually miss those days. I wish they would go back, but you got to start telling some great stories again to get people invested in doing stuff like that. Well, one of the things is that he was ostracized as a kid because of his skin complexion. That's what that was. The only way he stood out to combat that was nobody could see him on the soccer field.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's canon. So it's like, that's why I be certain people I only like talking to when it comes to comics. Because some people act like they know, but don't know.
Don't really know.
That
was disappointing because I was looking forward to that cartoon, but I am not really excited. Not too excited there. Seems like the boys' little hot tub session here is interrupted by a big blast coming from the Otherworld gate. The last person I knew that was coming in and out of that gate was Apocalypse and his kids. So that's immediately where my head went when I seen that. And you had already hyped me up. You was like, hey, yo, somebody coming. You gonna want to pick up X-Men Red. You gonna want to see. So I was kind of sitting on the edge of my seat to see who this was that was popping up. But we'll see a little bit later.
Right.
Aurora floats back down to to Krakoa. She's going to the seats of the Quiet Council to talk to Charos. Charos apologizes for pulling her away, knowing damn well he pulled her away. Storm kind of snaps back at him. They're going back and forth here for a little bit. And then they have the flashback that we talked about, where Xavier is kind of reading her the riot act. You're not a goddess. You're a mutant, and you have responsibilities. Just kind of seeming like he's bringing her down to earth or kind of clip her wings to use her for his own machinations, which I think is a very, in my opinion, it's a very one-sided way of telling that story because it doesn't tell anything that Storm received in return for leaving what she had at that moment to become what she eventually became. Because again, if you like where Storm is at right now, the formidable character that she is, she don't get that without the X-Men. She doesn't get that.
The sad part about it is, and I'm going to, while we might not always see eye to eye, when I say eye to eye, I mean us as YouTube comic book content creators and everything like that. And that's generally based on how we individually feel about a particular character. I think when it's safe to, when it comes down to what good storytelling is, I think we're all pretty much consistent and all unanimous in saying we want great storytelling. And what was said about this issue, particularly in regards to the portrayal of Charles Xavier, was that damn, y'all going real hard to make this dude look like he ain't crap.
Which again, it is. We're gonna follow up in when we do Immortal X-Men. It has to be pushing us towards something. It's got to be pushing us towards a mistake. Now, I made this mistake one time. I seen them going this hard in one direction, not necessarily in the comic books, but in a certain TV show that aired, last fall. That was the stinker of the season. And I was like, it ain't no way they're going to stick on that. It ain't no way it's going to keep going that way. It ain't no way she's going to be that one-track mind of a character. And boy, did it blow up. I don't think that's who we dealing with here. That it's not, certainly not the She-Hulk writers that we're dealing with. But that was the last time I looked at one of these situations between an older patriarchal figure like Xavier versus a newer version, a newer female, like that, taking over, and how that dynamic kind of meshed. And so I gave it the benefit of the doubt on the TV screen. I'll absolutely give it the benefit of the doubt in the comics, especially for a writer like Ewing. It just feels very targeted. It feels very purposeful. They're trying to tell us something, or they're trying to take us in a certain direction to set us up for something else. This is the way it feels right now. So the conversation between Storm and Xavier kind of kicks off after that flashback. He's inquiring about, Eric's last moments, what he was talking about. the back and forth about his name was a little much. It's just kind of, it keeps popping up. It feels very strong, and so like that's why I feel like it's purposeful. But then Xavier gets down to business, and he asks her straight up, what did he say? Like, what was his last words? So then Storm replies back to him and tells him it's private. Okay. Didn't we review that issue? Eric's last words. Oh, yes, we did. Yes, we did.
What about the conversation he had with her maid? What about that conversation would give anybody the impression he didn't want her to tell Charles what they talked?
Okay, so if I'm being fair, maybe she doesn't feel like she'll be able to safeguard against Xavier if she lets him know that Eric thought eventually he would do something to fatally hurt Krakoa or the Dream overall. Then maybe not letting him know she's looking at him for that is the best course of action. Now, why she had to be so cold about it, why she couldn't, hey, he was thinking about you, to the very end, you were one of his closest friends, you were on his mind at the very end, something comforting. Why doesn't she feel at all that she needs to kind of share in her grief with, maybe not her oldest friend, but certainly a mentor, one of her oldest teachers, somebody that she's known longer than Eric, been through these type of fights more often than Eric, been through these life and death situations more often than Eric. She watched Scott Summers murder Xavier right in front of her. She watched Scott murder Xavier right in front of her using the Phoenix Force.
Matter of fact, as we go on in this particular story, she's going to use a technique that he taught her.
And it was so funny. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to it, right? Obviously, Storm is playing coy. She doesn't want to give up everything that Eric gave her, right? Charles is getting upset, and he's getting to the point where he basically is like, hey, look, I can just take it from you, right? Like, I don't even gotta work hard to get it. Like, can you just stop playing so we can get past this and move on? And it again, giving off that very dismissive type of, like, I don't even think, even at his most, one-track mind or his most egotistical point, he would underestimate Storm in this way. Like, to the point that he talking big shit to her, big cash. Like, hey, little girl, give me what I want before I take it from you. You talking to the wrong one. And even Xavier would know that. But even still, though, I expect Xavier to have some level of power to where he's not losing to one of his students.
This is the same dude who took his best friend down. Now, who we think had more experience defending themselves against Charles? Aurora or Eric at the time that Charles put him in a catatonic state for what he did to Logan?
We could do some more. Cassandra Nova, Shadow King.
We act like
for Storm, by the way. Shadow King for Storm. Onslaught.
They act like,
come on, man,
what they don't want to do, which is crazy. Because Kid Omega can be an Omega level telepath, but Charles Xavier can't. Why he can't? But I mean, just think about that for a second. He's taught some of the most powerful telepaths on Earth. Period. And he's taken down some of the most powerful telepaths on Earth. Period. But he can't beat Aurora. Okay. I'm not just doing that for Aurora. I know it was one thing where what's her name talked about, she was using the technique to figure out that old boy was reading her mind. What's the young lady with the green hair?
Abigail Brand. Yeah.
When she realized old boy had been
man, Mentalo. Yeah. He was leaving. He left a trail. Yeah, you're right.
That's like believing that Abigail Brand could detect Charles. No, you're not doing that. And I get it. He taught them the technique, but you taught them the technique.
Taught them. Hey, anything I teach my son, I know how to get around it. You know what I'm saying? Anything I teach you, I know how to beat it. I taught you. You know, that's how that's supposed to work. And I don't think we're done. This is the initial entry to this skirmish. And again, I totally believe that we're going somewhere specific, and so the dynamic has to be set up this way. But boy, in the short term, it stinks. It really does. She uses the red triangle, her psychic defense protocol that she learned from one Charles Xavier, to repel Charles. Charles admits that he's afraid. That he basically tells Storm the story of him and Eric going to Sinister before creating Krakoa, and that that was their biggest sin, right? It's not what he did that haunts me, Aurora. It's when. Because before Krakoa, before any of this, we came to him. Resurrection is based on his genetic database, his evils, the foundation of our greatest good. And I think it was important for him to express that, because it gives a rationale to some things that are going to happen in this book and further books moving on. For him to acknowledge at least that it's dire enough that if Xavier himself is a threat to Krakoa, then it may be worth keeping an eye on him and others who are of that same power set,
Right.
They also languish a bit about the lost timeline and all the lives that they destroyed and again, okay, so I come to you, right? I came from another timeline. We from the same universe, but a different timeline, where the world went to shit and we had to fight a 1,000-year war as rebels against a tyrannical regime. And then somehow I get sent back in time to this very moment to talk to you and let you know everything that happens after this. Oh, and then by the way, you're not really you. At some point, you're going to die. And when we bring you back to life, you're going to be an evil version of yourself. A version that is specifically tailored to the evil machinations of the worst possible person you could be. Right? Mr. Sinister. Would all of the ensuing madness and chaos and death really feel like it was on you? Not to mention it didn't happen anymore. Like it doesn't exist. It went poof. It's gone. Like out of existence. Like now let's go back to Sins of Sinister Dominion. We can kind of think about how they went poof. That shit was kind of brutal. Like only Sinister comes up with shit like that. Like don't just make them dissolve or get snapped like Thanos. No, make every last living, breathing thing burn out of existence. That was some sick stuff. At the end of the conversation with Charles and Storm, she basically says that she understands that because Eric asked her, requested something of her, that she knows that Eric was her friend, or was Charles's friend, right? He knew that he cared about him. But after today, I guess after he attempted to take the information he wanted out of her mind forcibly, that she's no longer his friend.
Yeah, that's pretty much how that's gonna play out in real life. Yeah. You can't try that and think we're gonna be cool again. I don't know how we gonna do that. Some lines.
Yeah, I mean, again, it just felt like that situation was set up to go that way. Like, hey, I want to know something. You know it. No. Why not? Because you don't need to know. Give it to me now. No. Okay. Well, I'm gonna try to take it, and then I don't know. Some of it kind of felt a little
forced,
a little set-up-y.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We're back to the external gate on Araco. and Richard Rider, Roberto are investigating. Somebody pops out of here with the sword that we haven't seen since Ten of Swords, all the way back when homeboy, I can't even remember his name. Yeah, the white sword. The white sword has fallen, and 99 of his champions with him. I am the last. Fam, you're telling me this guy was one of the white sword's 100, so the ones that fought blind samurai. What's his name? Medusa powers. What is his name?
Oh dang! I know you're talking about though.
Is it Gorgon?
It is
Gorgon, right? Which was the best thing that really happened in that book was that death scene from him. In my estimation, that was the best 2 or 3 panels in the book.
You gotta give me
an epic death.
You gotta give me some more story of the white sword. You're not telling me that's it, nah. Because that was
but look who the last of the 99 is. I bring you this legendary weapon, Purity, as proof of his last words. Tell them, he said, tell them all. Genesis is coming, and look who it is. Look at her.
That's not gonna go. If that's the beginning of the fall of X, like, listen, hey.
Krakoa started its first real skirmish was with the Annihilation Scourge in Genesis. So if we about to bring that thing all the way back around and Krakoa falls to Genesis and that same Annihilation Scourge, that's an interesting full circle. To me though, there's a lot here. First of all, John Ironfire was one of the 99 souls fighting for the white sword. Epic storytelling.
Souls.
Give it to me. Also, what happened? Because when I remember at the end of Ten of Swords, Apocalypse took the helm. He was wearing it, or he was controlling it. He didn't even have to put it on. He was wearing it he was like a staff. Right? Now we know that the powers of the helm are, or at least when it was a helmet, were so corrosive that it ended up turning you into the worst version of yourself. And eventually, even Genesis succumbed to it. Is that what happens again? Does it start calling towards Genesis? Is it, did it turn Apocalypse? Because he doesn't say Apocalypse is coming. Doesn't say Apocalypse Horse is coming. It says Genesis is coming. Did Genesis try to fight her family and Apocalypse to get the helm back? You know what I mean? There's a lot of story here to tell, a lot of meat.
Do we get old girl back, her sister?
Iska? Oh, yeah, we have not seen Iska. Yeah, Iska has not popped back up, so that's interesting.
Watch this.
You'd have to imagine she comes back. If Genesis coming back, Iska comes back. What if Iska saves Zorako?
Listen, y'all need to be on the lookout for Iska action figure next year.
What if Iska redeems herself from not only working with Tarn, but didn't she flip sides during the Judgment Day? What if she redeems herself for that by defeating her sister in hand-to-hand combat and not switching sides even when it looks like they're about to lose? What if she finally goes against her better nature?
I ain't saying. I'm just saying it's a lot. It's a lot.
Okay. So if you're taking it somewhere, I'll deal with the rod and I'll deal with the the annoying back and forth between Xavier and Storm.
There it is. Yeah.
So be it. So that's issue 11. We'll definitely be here for issue 12. Any parting thoughts on the book there, Theo?
Like I said, you said a whole lot. I ain't no need me talking with what you said. Everything you said, I concur. I agree with. We're gonna see where it goes. It's still a fascinating book. It's still a fascinating book. It's still putting a lot of respect on Aurora's name and everything like that. By and large, we calling this X-Men Red. We could call this Aurora and the Brotherhood and leave it at that.
Yeah.
We're gonna see. I'm here for it. Want to see what's going on with Richard Rider. Want to see what's going on with Roberto da Costa again and everything like that. Want to see what happened to Burback or something like that.
Kubak or
Kubek. I want to see what's going on with Kubek and everything like that. See did he win? So
he was too confident. He ran his fade for sure. He was good.
First of all, I had a problem with him just standing in front of Roberto.
Hey, I'm mad they jaws dropped like that. Like, fam, pause. Relax.
Like, bro, get back in the water. But no, man, great read overall, man. Great read overall. Definitely love it.
Sure. So give us your thoughts on the book in the comments below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Come back next week for some more comic book reviews.